Hello, welcome back to another video. This is Partial Hangout here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the game Omori. I really like this game, and keep in mind this review will have very light spoilers, and the gameplay that I'll be showing is from the beginning, so you don't have to worry too much, but just letting you know. And of course, this whole video is my opinion, so feel free to take it with a grain of salt. Omori is a 2D, top-down, indie RPG where you play as a boy named Sunny. You traverse through this mysterious world going on wacky adventures with your 3 human friends in search of your lost 4th friend, who suddenly vanishes. And like by wacky, I mean like things like trying to escape the castle of an egotistical princess, or trying to get all your friends away from working for this hotel service that kidnapped them and tricked them into signing a contract to work for them. So, like, yeah, this game can get pretty crazy, but in a funny way. And underneath it all are chunks of psychological horror, as it becomes quickly apparent that the main character is being haunted by something. He's going through so much stress and fear, and slowly but surely, the game gets you to know why. But that's enough about the story, as I don't want to spoil your experience. If you are considering to play this game, just know that the story is, like, not for kids, but if you love a good, captivating story with multiple endings, you'll love this game. I think the story of this game is very well written, and I think it's its strongest aspect. Next, I will talk about the combat system, the art style, and end off with a negative complaint towards the game. So, going to combat, the essential aspects of an RPG are the story, but also the combat. So, how is the combat? I'm here to tell you that it's decent, typical RPG combat. Nothing spectacular, but also like nothing terrible. The combat system is turn-based, so you will get a chance to do actions, and then your enemies and so forth, they'll, like, your turn, their turn, etc. I attack, enemy health go down. They attack, my health goes down. There's no like avoiding attacks, it's just playing better turns than the enemy, if that makes any sense. Essentially, Omori's particular combat system boils down to using your different characters' various skills at the right instances. Remember when I said that you're going on your adventures with 3 friends? Well, they're all with you as you fight, and they all have various different skills that unlock over time for you to use in battle. Of course, there's also items you can pick up throughout the world to heal you and aid you, and there's a general attack button, among other standard RPG combat mechanics. Probably the most unique thing from this combat system, though, is the emotion system. Your individual characters or the enemies can flow through different emotions throughout the fight, which can buff or nerf them in certain ways. For example, being angry buffs attack damage but lowers defense. These different emotions can be triggered through certain skills, items, or enemy attacks. These emotions also counter each other. For example, an angry character is stronger against a sad character. This combat system definitely has a charm to it, but for me personally, I found it to be pretty basic and honestly kind of boring at times. I didn't think it was anything too special. It was also just like super easy for me as well when I was going through the game. I'd much rather prefer a combat system like the indie RPG Undertale that actually has you dodging attacks in like this sort of bullet hell way, instead of just getting hit pretty much every turn that the enemy isn't dead. So yeah, combat is decent, you know, nothing terrible, but nothing spectacular either. So now let's talk about the art style real quick. On the surface, this RPG seems to have pretty standard pixel art in the RPG style. And while that's true, Omori's art really shines when you're looking at the close-ups of various characters during things like combat, pictures, or cutscenes. As you can see, I'll probably put it up on screen. It has this very interesting aesthetic of like being drawn with crayons, but also looking like cartoony and charming. So I really dig it, and I think it's a super unique, super nice style. And it also definitely plays a huge role in the story, as the game uses this art frequently to show the emotions of the characters as certain things are happening. Because, you know, your character is like a little, like, pixel art, big head, 2 black dots for eyes while you're walking around. You can't really see too much of what's going on with their facial expressions, so that makes sense. And it also, the art has a very sizable role in the meme culture surrounding this game, which I also really enjoy. So I only have like one major complaint for this game, and you may find it an odd complaint, but I just think this game goes on for like far too long. It took me around like 30 hours to beat this game, which I thought was way too much for how the game presented itself and what the game had to offer. As I said before, the game progressively reveals what's going on with the main character, and it eventually gets to a point where I'm like, I just want to know what's going on. But instead, the game was moving away from the story to those wacky adventures again. This game is very segmented with its pacing. You're either getting a bunch of new stuff about the story, or you aren't getting any at all, and you're just playing the game. I think it was around the 20-hour mark where I was getting like tired of the whole experience. I'm a very plot-oriented person. I like it when the story continues to progress towards an eventual climax. Like, I'm fine with like filler character focused content, but only when used sparingly and has some sort of relevance. And like the basic combat system to top it off doesn't help either. So yeah, that's probably like my only complaint. Like, it's literally like you're going through a wacky adventure and then you're getting stuff about the story. Like I said, it's just like one or the other. There's very little overlap. And so it just makes it kind of hard to enjoy it, especially when it gets longer. Like, you're towards the final, like, maybe second half of the game. And then compared to Undertale, actually, because that's one of the other really popular indie RPGs out there. The game length is only about like 6 to 8 hours. And I think that's like perfect. I think if this game was, because this game is 30 hours, I think if it was 15, it would have been perfect. 15 is perfectly fine. But they kind of just, maybe even 20, but like 30, that's a lot. But in the end, I was able to get through this game, and I had a really good time with it, all things considered. If you fancy yourself a good story with great characters, some psychological horror, you won't regret picking this game up. It's real fun. It can get a little dragging, but I think the story will keep you playing as it kept me playing. So overall, I really enjoyed this game. I had a good time with it, and I recommend it. So yeah, that's all from my review on Omori. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next video. More gaming stuff on the way. You guys have a good day.